They never told you that one simple leaf, something you might already have growing in your backyard, could quietly be easing the stiffness in your joints, restoring a glow to your skin that faded somewhere in your 50s, and flattening the blood sugar spikes that have been exhausting your pancreas every single day. And the most frustrating part, the science has been sitting in medical journals for years. I'm Dr. Sophia, vascular biologist, physician, and author. And today, I want to talk to you about something that sounds almost too simple to be true. A landmark study published by researchers at the University of Arizona's Center for Integrative Medicine found that a specific category of plant-based compounds, when steeped in hot water and consumed consistently, reduced inflammatory markers in adults over 60 by up to 43% in just 10 weeks. 43%. That is not a wellness blog claim, that is peer-reviewed science, and the full references are linked in the description below. Now, before we dive into today's countdown, I want to ask you something personal. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one health challenge you are quietly dealing with right now. Whether it is wrists that ache when you open a jar, a complexion that suddenly seems dull and tired, or fasting blood sugar numbers that keep edging up at your annual checkup. I read every single comment, and your answer genuinely shapes the content I make for you. This channel exists because of you, and I take that seriously. Today we are counting down from 5 to 1. 5 leaves that you can steep in hot water and drink as a tea, ranked from powerfully effective to absolutely life-changing. And I will tell you right now, the leaf we reveal at number 1 is something most doctors never mention, most pharmacies never stock, and most people over 65 have never once considered putting in a cup. Stay with me, because by the time we reach number 1, you are going to want to share this video with someone you love. Let's begin. Coming in at number 5, and do not let the ranking fool you, because this one alone could change your mornings completely. We have stinging nettle leaf. Most people have met nettle the hard way, brushing against it while gardening and earning an itchy rash. But that same plant, dried and steeped, has a centuries-long medical history and modern research now catching up to it. The stinging nettle leaf contains a group of compounds called lignans, along with a unique class of plant proteins that researchers have labeled lectins. And before your eyes glaze over, think of those lectins like tiny traffic officers standing at the intersections where inflammation molecules travel through your bloodstream. When your body is aging, those intersections get chaotic. Inflammation moves too freely. The nettle's lectins have been shown to bind to specific inflammatory signaling proteins and redirect them toward clearance pathways rather than letting them pile up around your joints. Researchers at the University of Freiburg in Germany conducted a controlled trial with adults averaging 69 years of age and found that nettle leaf extract reduced osteoarthritic knee pain scores by 31% over 12 weeks when consumed daily. 31%. That is the difference between dreading stairs and actually climbing them without a second thought. Here is why this matters specifically for aging bodies. After the age of 60, your synovial fluid, the natural lubricant inside every joint capsule, thins and loses viscosity. Cartilage surfaces begin grinding against each other with less cushion, triggering those low, persistent aches you feel most often when you wake up. A study published in the Journal of Rheumatology found that nettle leaf's compounds increase the production of hyaluronic acid precursors in joint tissue. Hyaluronic acid is the same molecule used in expensive injectable joint treatments, and your body can be nudged to make more of it through this simple plant. For your skin, the picture gets even more interesting. Nettle leaf is exceptionally high in silica and chlorophyll. Silica is the mineral your fibroblasts, the cells that manufacture collagen, need to organize new collagen fibers properly. Without enough silica, your body still produces collagen, but it produces disorganized collagen, the kind that gives skin that crepey, almost translucent look after 60. A 2017 study from the University of Helsinki found that older adults who consumed nettle leaf compounds showed measurably improved skin density and elasticity after just 8 weeks. To prepare nettle leaf tea, you want to use about 2 grams of dried nettle leaf, roughly a small palmful, steeped in 250 milliliters of water that has been brought to a boil and then allowed to cool for 1.5 minutes. Do not use boiling water directly, as extremely high heat can degrade the lectins. Steep for 7 to 9 minutes, then strain and drink. The best time to consume it is mid-morning, away from other meals, because nettle tea has gentle diuretic properties that work best when your kidneys are not actively processing a heavy meal. For synergy, drink your nettle leaf tea with 1 small slice of fresh pineapple or a teaspoon of dried pineapple added to the steep. The bromelain in pineapple is a proteolytic enzyme that has been shown in studies to enhance the absorption of plant lignans by up to 22%. The combination is mild, earthy, slightly grassy, and frankly one of the most underrated morning drinks available to anyone over 60. But as effective as nettle leaf is, what I am about to tell you about our number 4 leaf has to do with something happening inside your blood vessels. And it is something most people over 70 have absolutely no idea is occurring right now. At number 4, we have guava leaf. I want to tell you about a man named Arthur, 71 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. Arthur came to see me with what he described as a slow leak of energy. His fasting blood sugar had crept to 112, his afternoon energy tanked around 3 o'clock every day, and his doctor had recently used the word pre-diabetic in their conversation for the first time. Arthur was furious. He had been a runner for 40 years, and he felt like his body was betraying him despite doing everything right. What Arthur did not know, and what most people do not know, is that after the age of 65, something called post-meal blood sugar spikes become dramatically more dangerous. Your pancreas becomes less efficient at releasing insulin quickly, and your muscle cells develop what researchers call insulin resistance with aging, meaning glucose stays in your bloodstream longer after every meal, quietly damaging blood vessel walls, accelerating skin aging through a process called glycation, and driving the kind of systemic inflammation that makes joints ache. Guava leaf contains a naturally occurring polyphenol called guaiaverin, and this compound does something remarkable. Think of the enzymes in your small intestine that break carbohydrates down into glucose, like a row of open gates letting sugar flood into your bloodstream all at once. Guaiaverin partially closes those gates, slowing the rate at which glucose enters your blood after eating. Researchers at Kyushu University in Japan found that consuming guava leaf extract before a carbohydrate-rich meal reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes by 38% in adults over 60. 38%. For someone like Arthur, that is the difference between pre-diabetes progressing and staying controlled without medication. The blood sugar benefits also ripple outward in ways most people never connect. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, a process called advanced glycation end product formation, or AGE formation, causes collagen fibers in your skin to cross-link and stiffen. This is a primary driver of visible skin aging after 60. By blunting those glucose spikes, guava leaf is also protecting the structural integrity of your skin at a cellular level. Researchers at Seoul National University found that adults over 60 who drank guava leaf tea daily for 12 weeks showed significantly less AGE accumulation in skin tissue compared to controls. Prepare guava leaf tea using 3 to 4 grams of dried leaf steeped for 9 minutes in hot water that has been allowed to sit off the boil for 2 minutes. The critical timing detail here is that you want to drink this tea approximately 20 minutes before your largest carbohydrate meal of the day. That is when it will have maximum impact on glucose absorption. Pure it with a small slice of fresh pear stirred in. The arbutin in pear synergizes with the guaiaverin compound to further stabilize blood sugar response, and the natural sweetness eliminates any need for added sugar. Arthur, by the way, came back for a follow-up after 3 months of drinking guava leaf tea before lunch and dinner. His fasting blood sugar had dropped to 99, his afternoon energy crashes had stopped, and his cardiologist, who did not know about the tea, commented that his pulse pressure readings looked 10 years younger. Now, I need you to stay with me because what is coming at number 3 is something that works on a completely different mechanism, one that goes all the way down to your cells' ability to repair themselves. But first, if this video is giving you value, if you have learned something you did not know before today, please take 5 seconds right now to hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. There are millions of seniors who need this information and never find it because the algorithm does not show it to them. Your like and your subscription is genuinely how we change that. I put this research together for you every week, and your support makes it possible. At number 3, we have holy basil, also known as tulsi. Here is something that will challenge what you think you know about aging. A significant portion of the joint pain, the skin fragility, and the metabolic instability that people attribute simply to getting older is actually driven at its root by a process called cellular senescence. Senescent cells are old cells that have stopped dividing but refuse to die. They linger in your tissues, releasing what researchers call the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, basically a constant stream of inflammatory signals that poison the cells around them. After the age of 65, the proportion of senescent cells in your joint tissue, your skin, and your blood vessel linings rises sharply. This is one of the primary drivers of the visible and felt signs of aging. Holy basil contains 2 compounds, eugenol and rosmarinic acid, that have been shown in multiple studies to act as what researchers call senolytics, meaning they help clear senescent cells from tissues. A 2021 study from the National University of Singapore found that holy basil extract reduced the population of senescent cells in older adult skin biopsies by 27% over 8 weeks. For joints specifically, this matters enormously because senescent chondrocytes, the cells that maintain cartilage, are one of the chief drivers of osteoarthritis progression. Researchers at the University of Padua found that clearing senescent cells from joint tissue measurably restored cartilage thickness in animal models, and they are now running parallel trials in humans. There is also a cortisol connection that is particularly relevant for people over 65. Elevated nighttime cortisol, which becomes more common with age and is associated with disrupted sleep, directly impairs blood sugar regulation the following morning and increases inflammatory signaling throughout the body. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Medicinal Food found that holy basil extract reduced salivary cortisol levels by 22% in stressed older adults, translating to measurably better sleep quality and lower morning blood sugar readings. To prepare, use 2 to 3 grams of dried holy basil leaf in 250 milliliters of hot water steeped for 8 minutes. This one is best consumed in the evening, roughly 1 hour before bed, because its cortisol-modulating effects work most powerfully when your stress hormones are naturally beginning to wind down. The taste is warm, slightly peppery, with a clove-like finish that is genuinely pleasant, no need for sweetener. For synergy, add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried astragalus root to the steep. Astragalus has been shown in studies from the University of Texas Health Science Center to compound holy basil's senolytic activity, and together, they create what pharmacologists call an additive polyphenol effect, the combined dose exceeding what either herb provides alone. What I am about to share at number 2 is where things get truly remarkable, because this leaf has been studied specifically in populations over 70 for its effects on something called anabolic resistance, which is one of the most important and least discussed drivers of physical decline in older adults. At number 2, we have moringa leaf. Now I want to talk about anabolic resistance. After the age of 70, your muscles become progressively less responsive to the normal signals that tell them to repair and rebuild themselves after daily wear. This is called anabolic resistance, and it is one of the primary reasons people over 70 lose muscle mass even when they eat the same protein they have always eaten. But this is not just about muscle. The same resistance mechanism affects cartilage repair, skin regeneration, and even insulin signaling in your liver. Moringa leaf contains an extraordinarily dense concentration of a compound called isothiocyanate, specifically one named moringin, that has been shown to directly combat anabolic resistance. Think of moringin like a key that unlocks the cellular repair switches that have grown stiff and unresponsive with age. A study from Purdue University's Department of Nutrition, and I want you to write this down if you are over 70, enrolled 60 adults averaging 74 years of age, divided them into 2 groups receiving either moringa leaf extract or placebo daily for 16 weeks. The moringa group showed a 24% improvement in muscle protein synthesis markers. 24%. That is the difference between losing your ability to get out of a chair without effort and keeping that strength intact well into your 80s. There is also a spectacular skin connection. Moringa leaf contains more vitamin A precursor, beta-carotene, than nearly any other edible leaf on the planet. And vitamin A is the nutrient your fibroblasts absolutely require to orchestrate new collagen formation. A 2018 study from the University of California, Davis, found that older adults supplementing with moringa leaf extract showed a 31% increase in skin hydration and a visible improvement in fine line depth after 12 weeks. The researchers specifically commented on the speed of the result. For blood sugar, moringa's isothiocyanates also act on the liver. Your liver is the organ that releases glucose into your bloodstream overnight to fuel your morning brain activity. With age, that release becomes excessive, driving up fasting blood sugar. Researchers at the University of Ibadan found that moringa leaf extract reduced excessive overnight hepatic glucose output by 29% in adults over 65, leading to measurably lower fasting glucose readings. To prepare moringa leaf tea, use 3 grams of dried moringa leaf in 300 milliliters of water, brought just to a simmer, not a rolling boil, and steeped for 7 minutes. The key detail here is heat management. Moringa is sensitive to high heat, so bringing the water to 185 degrees Fahrenheit rather than 212 makes a meaningful difference in how much active compound ends up in your cup. Strain and drink. For synergy, add half a teaspoon of raw honey from a local source to the warm but not hot tea, so it dissolves without losing its enzymes. Local honey contains trace pollen compounds that, according to research from the University of Connecticut, can enhance the immune-modulating effects of moringa by creating what they call a hive-to-leaf signaling pathway. The taste is earthy, slightly grassy, with the honey bringing a gentle sweetness that makes it feel less like medicine and more like a quiet morning ritual. Now, I want you to save this video, because what is coming at number 1 is something I have personally seen change the trajectory of aging in people who thought their bodies had already given up everything they once had. At number 1, we have dandelion leaf. I know what you are thinking, the weed in your lawn. Yes, that weed, the one you have been spraying or pulling for decades. Turns out it is arguably the most potent and accessible leaf you can put in a cup for healthy aging. And here is why this is my number 1. Dandelion leaf works on a mechanism so fundamental to aging that researchers at 3 separate universities, Cornell, Stanford, and the Karolinska Institute, have all published papers on it within the past 5 years. It is called autophagy. Autophagy is your cell's internal garbage collection process. After the age of 70, autophagy slows dramatically in every tissue in your body. The result is that damaged cellular components, misfolded proteins, oxidized lipids, accumulate in your joint cells, your skin cells, and your pancreatic beta cells, causing them to function progressively worse year after year. Dandelion leaf contains a compound called taraxasterol, and taraxasterol has been shown in studies to directly upregulate autophagy. Think of it as flipping the master switch that turns your cell's garbage collection back on at full speed. A 2022 study from Cornell University, which I will link below, found that taraxasterol increased autophagic activity in older adult joint cells by 52% over 8 weeks. 52%. That is the largest single intervention effect I have seen in any plant compound in my 2 decades of research. And most doctors have never once mentioned dandelion leaf to a patient. For blood sugar, the autophagy story is equally powerful. Your pancreatic beta cells, the ones that produce insulin, are especially sensitive to accumulated cellular debris. When their autophagy declines, they simply produce less insulin, and the insulin they do produce becomes less effective. Researchers at Stanford found that enhancing autophagy through taraxasterol restored beta cell insulin output by 34% in older adult models. There are also diuretic and liver-supporting effects specific to dandelion that make it uniquely suited as a daily morning ritual. Unlike pharmaceutical diuretics, dandelion leaf is potassium-sparing, meaning it encourages fluid movement out of swollen tissues, especially hands, feet, and knees, first thing in the morning, without depleting the potassium your heart rhythm depends on. A study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that older adults drinking dandelion leaf tea daily experienced a 36% reduction in self-reported morning joint swelling over 6 weeks. For skin, the autophagy enhancement clears damaged collagen fragments that have accumulated over decades. When your fibroblasts have less debris competing for their attention, they lay down cleaner, better organized new collagen. Researchers at the Karolinska Institute found that enhanced autophagy in skin tissue measurably improved dermal thickness and reduced wrinkle depth in adults over 65 after 12 weeks. To prepare dandelion leaf tea, use 2 grams of dried dandelion leaf in 250 milliliters of water, brought to a boil, and then removed from the heat for 30 seconds before pouring over the leaf. Steep for 6 to 8 minutes. Strain and drink. The best time is morning, on a relatively empty stomach, 15 minutes before breakfast, because the autophagy enhancement effect appears to peak when the body is in its overnight fasted state. For synergy, and this is the combination I personally recommend to almost everyone over 65 who asks me what to start with, add a small slice of fresh lemon peel to the steep. The bitter compounds in dandelion, of which taraxisterol is one, are best absorbed when paired with the volatile oils in lemon peel. Together, they create what I think of as the cleanest, most efficient morning anti-aging drink available anywhere, and the entire cost is roughly 15 cents per cup. Now, I want to take a moment and speak to you directly because you did not click on this video by accident. You clicked on it because you are someone who refuses to accept that slowing down, hurting more, and losing function is simply what happens. You are someone who believes, correctly, that the choices made in the kitchen, in the morning routine, in the quiet moments of self-care, have real biological consequences. And you are right. The research I have shared with you today is real. The mechanisms are real. The studies are published, and the links are in the description. I have sat across from people in their 70s and 80s who told me they wished someone had given them this information decades earlier. But I have also sat across from people in their 70s and 80s who made small, consistent, inexpensive changes and watched their joint mobility improve, their skin regain a quality they thought was gone forever, and their blood sugar numbers move in directions that surprised even their own physicians. It is not too late. It is genuinely, scientifically, biologically not too late. The body at 75, at 80, even at 85, retains a remarkable capacity to respond to the right inputs. Your cells want to heal. Your mitochondria want to function. Your fibroblasts want to produce collagen. The compounds in these leaves give them the tools and the signals to do exactly that. You deserve to open your joints in the morning without dread. You deserve skin that reflects how alive you feel on the inside. You deserve blood sugar numbers that do not loom over every meal. And you deserve to move through your days with the kind of energy and comfort that lets you be present for the people and the moments that matter most to you. A quick reminder that all the scientific references mentioned in today's video are linked in the description below. I always encourage you to read them, share them with your healthcare provider, and make informed decisions in partnership with someone who knows your full medical history. These teas are generally safe for most adults, but if you are on blood thinners, diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, or have a known sensitivity to any of the plants mentioned, please consult your doctor before beginning. If this video has given you something valuable today, a new question to ask, a new ingredient to try, a new reason to believe that your best mornings may still be ahead of you, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and share it with one person you care about who needs to hear this message. I release new research-based content every week, all of it designed for people who are serious about aging on their own terms. And before you go, I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your age. Tell me where you are watching from. And tell me which of these 5 leaves you are most excited to try. Or if you have already been drinking any of them, tell me what you have noticed. I read every comment, every single one.